Hey, what's up everybody? Jack Many Trades back here again with another video, and today we're going to be talking about the DJI OM6. This is something that I have been wanting to make a video on for a long time, but I wanted to get a lot of experience with this under my belt so that way I could show you guys exactly what this device is capable of, what its limitations are, and if it might be something that's useful to you in your projects. So let's get straight into it. So if you guys have seen my other videos on the channel, you guys would be familiar with all of the things that come with the OM6, but in case you haven't seen them, here's what you get. You get the OM6 itself, which is this device. Right now I have the tripod attached. This is included, so it's nice that they give that to you. It just screws in here to the bottom with standard 1/4-inch threads, and you can let it sit somewhere, so that's really nice. You also get a phone clamp here. This is magnetic. It stretches around your phone, and the nice thing is that this phone clamp can fit very large phones. I use an iPhone 14 Pro Max and it fits it no problem, even with a pretty thick case on it. So you guys should have no trouble using your phone with this product. You also get a USB-A to USB-C charging cable in the box. It's a pretty long one, so that's nice. And you also get a soft carrying bag. Unfortunately, they do not give you a case with this, so you're kind of stuck with a carrying bag, although I will leave recommendations down in the description on cases that you can get for this if you'd like to take it around and you don't feel comfortable moving it in a bag like this one. So one of the first things that you're going to want to do when you get your OM6 is to grab your phone and download the DJI MiMo app. This is going to allow you to control settings on the gimbal, like how fast it moves, how fast it tracks. You're also going to be able to get full control over your camera, and it's going to allow you to also update the firmware on your OM6. So this is a really essential app, and you should definitely download it once you get your device. With that being said, to connect your iPhone to the OM6, take the included adapter here. Make sure that you focus on this right here. It shows you where the camera should be in relation to the orientation of this. Just slap it on in the middle. The OM6 will pretty much auto-calibrate, so it should look something like this. Then take your OM6, so it'll come locked like this. You just want to flip it around 180 degrees into the unlocked state, and then grab down here on the gimbal arm, and it will turn on and give you a little chime. Then all you have to do is take your phone and put it on top of the gimbal. It will automatically connect and center itself, and when you see here this green light turn on, that means that it's connected. On the Osmo itself, you will see a couple of buttons. So this one up here is going to be your mode or power button. So if you press this once, it will cycle through the different modes. So as you can see here, it cycles through. Now we're in FPV mode. If we cycle again to the last mode, this is the spin mode, so you can use the joystick and it will just spin your phone around in a circle. You also have, of course, the joystick, so if you turn it to the right, your camera will turn right. If you turn it to the left, the camera will turn left. Down, camera will go down, and up, camera will go up. Over here we have the start and stop recording button, or the shutter button. So you can push this, it will take a picture or start the video, depending on which mode you're in. And finally, right here, we have the rotation or orientation button. So if you press this twice, it will change your orientation from portrait to landscape. And if you press it one time, it will change from the back camera to the front camera, so that way you can do either vlog style video or more normal style video. Additionally, on the side here we have this little knob which has click functionality. This will only really work in the MiMo app. Basically what you can do with this is you can either have it as a manual zoom or as a manual focus. So it's really nice, you get to pull focus using this knob here, and you can switch between the modes by pressing the button. Also on the back of the device, you can see here that we have a trigger. So if you press this twice, it will automatically recenter your phone. And if you press it and hold it, it will lock the gimbal's axes, so that way the phone always looks in one direction. So now taking a look here at what we see through the camera, you can kind of see what the studio looks like. And as you can see, the gimbal is keeping our movements nice and steady. And so right now I'm just going to be using the little knob on the side, and you can see that we are increasing and decreasing zoom. But we can just as easily switch into manual focus mode. And in manual focus mode, you can see that we can pull back our focus, so that way we can focus on things in the foreground or in the background. And so we'll just switch back into autofocus so we don't have to worry about that. Additionally, if you push the 3 dots on the back here, you'll see that we get some options for the camera. So we can set the white balance to auto, or we can change it ourselves. You can also have your grid and diagonals, so that way you can get your proper framing. You can have either HDR on or HDR off. So this will take advantage of the fact that your iPhone can shoot in HDR. You can also go through here to gimbal settings. Right now we are in follow mode, so you can have your follow speed. Right now it's set to fast, but we can also set it to medium. So you can see now we have even smoother motions with the same amount of hand movement, or we can have it to slow. So you can see that now it's really trying to smooth out our movement quite a bit. You can also calibrate your gimbal here. So for that, you'd want to set it onto a flat surface. You can change what the side wheel does. You can change how fast the joystick moves. So right now it's on medium speed. So this way you can do your framing very quickly. You can also invert any of the directions that you would want, and you also have sound options. And in here, if we go to device management, you can manage your connections there. So inside of the app, you also have control over your video, so you can turn it into manual. Now you can see that we are able to adjust our ISO. We can also change our shutter speed. You can change your resolution and frame rate. And now that we're in manual, we can go and change our white balance. So you can do sunny, cloudy, incandescent, fluorescent, or custom. And so now you see that we have proper white balance. And again, if I just press on this button here, you can see that our camera rotates into portrait. And if I press it again, it rotates back. All right, so another thing that you can do here is you can have your camera auto track you. So if you're going to be out and about, walking around, talking to the camera or doing something like that, you can quickly set it to track somebody. All you have to do is just press the trigger on the back one time, or you can draw a box around the person and it will basically try to keep them in frame as best as possible, and it generally does a very good job of this. All right, so now the final thing that I wanted to show to you guys is a really nice feature of the OM6. You can actually take the base here and pull on it and get a little bit of an extension rod for a selfie stick mode. So this is really cool in that it allows you to get up high to get sort of crane type shots. As well, you can get low without having to actually bring your body down to the ground. So this is really, really helpful in being able to give you interesting and unique shooting ability without having to really go out of your way or buy like a monopod or something like that. This is built directly into the OM6, and so it's really nice to be able to have this sort of functionality. Additionally, as I had mentioned before about the OM6, something that I think is pretty cool is that you are able to shoot in underslung mode. So if you're trying to shoot something low to the ground, say like a dog, I'll throw up some B-roll here, but you can rotate about the phone's axis, and as you can see right there, it flipped. And so now you can get down very low without actually having to be super low. And again, this also works with the selfie stick extension, so you don't have to bend down really low just to get these super low shots. So something that I think is worth mentioning with the DJI OM6, and something that kind of keeps me from using it as much, and why I actually ended up buying the DJI RS3 Pro, is that I use a lot of accessories with my iPhone when I film, so that way it doesn't look like I'm shooting on an iPhone. As you can see here, I have the DJI mic, which you can get in a bundle with the OM6 mounted here. As well, I also have a Moment 60mm telephoto lens attached. And with this setup, this is well in excess of what DJI rates the OM6 as being capable of handling. So right now the gimbal is pretty unbalanced, so you are not going to be able to get very steady footage. What you're going to actually want to do is to remove your phone and try to move the mount here a little bit closer to the heaviest object. So if you remember back to classes that you took in physics, this is sort of like a lever roll problem, because we need to balance out the weight so that way it is not putting as much strain on the motors. Something you might also want to invest in is counterweights. So as you can see here, I have counterweights. These are each 20 grams, so you can get a total of 60. And so if we put these on the end here and turn off the OM6, and then we put the iPhone on, now you can see it's back heavy. So the side with the mic is kind of pulling down. So right now you see that we're still pulling to the right. So that means that we need to push our phone up a little bit. Now we're pushing a little bit to the left, so now we have to push our phone towards the camera. So we're still not quite balanced. All right, so now you see here, we are pretty much balanced. If I tilt it a little bit too far to one side, it will flop over, but you kind of can't balance this too accurately. So this is kind of the best that we're gonna get. So if we turn it on now, and then go into landscape mode, you see that we don't have any warnings telling us that it's unbalanced. But again, this is a way heavier setup than DJI recommends. So if you are looking at getting one of these and you also want to get some Moment lenses for your phone, do keep in mind that this may not be the best option for you. Instead, I would go with something like the DJI RS3 or the RS3 Pro. I know that they're quite a bit more expensive than this guy, but they will definitely allow you to use any setup that you want, and you're not gonna have to worry about it. So just do keep that in mind if you are looking at getting one of these OM6s and you want to use additional accessories like lenses or the DJI mic. So with that being said, do I actually recommend you guys go out and get the DJI OM6 for yourself? I think it's kind of a yes and a no. If you guys don't already have anything to stabilize your footage, I think that the OM6 is an excellent starting point, especially if you're going to be somebody who's going to use their smartphone for content creation. So whether you're a vlogger or you're just starting to get into videography or photography, I think it's a great point to jump in on. But just do be aware that if you want to expand your craft a little bit and go into more professional work with some of the lenses for moment, filters, other things like that, your camera setup will get too heavy and you'll be putting a ton of strain on the motors, which will wear them out pretty fast. So just be aware that if you do want to get into the OM6, that you can't really put a ton of stuff onto your phone. I know that there are counterweights, but even when you do use the counterweights, things aren't going to be entirely perfectly balanced. And especially if you're using a heavy phone like I am with the iPhone 14 Pro Max, it may not be the best thing for you. So definitely, if you are just starting out, getting into photography, getting into videography, I highly recommend you guys get the OM6 if you don't already have something to stabilize your footage. Your footage will look so much better if you use a gimbal. But if you guys are already established, I would definitely go with something a little bit higher end, like the DJI RS3 or RS3 Pro, or even something used if you want to get an RS2 or an RS2C or something like that. Those gimbals are a little bit cheaper now since they're older. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching this video. Please remember to leave me a like, drop a comment down below, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video.